Hello, everyone. This is April Rooks with Cornerstone Personal Development. So wonderful to have you guys join us today for our mission-driven team building session and our leadership coaching. Today, I want to talk to you about something that a lot of leaders come to me in need of and a lot of questions about, and that is, how do I engage my team? How do I motivate my team to do more? We have some great players on our team. They have great potential, a lot of education, great experience and background, but we're just finding a disconnect. So within the leadership coaching that I provide, one of the key aspects that we talk about is mission-minded leadership. And within our mission-minded leadership coaching, we help business owners, just like all of you, and business leaders to be able to tactily put together ways to provide the tools and empower our teams to be engaged. So today, as we begin this journey of building our mission-minded team, and then also giving you those tools to build that team, we're going to talk about a primary aspect of our leadership and what that looks like for our teams and for you and I as leaders. And one of the key aspects for that is the aspect that we are leading, whether that is in a fear mode or what that looks like. So one of those primary areas that we struggle with as individuals, as leaders in our everyday life is fear. Now, when I mention fear, we might think of, well, something that we're afraid of. I'm personally afraid of spiders. Not a big fan. Others might be afraid of snakes. You might be afraid of heights. All of us have something that we're afraid of. But in this context, we want to talk about leading our businesses, leading our teams, and what does that mean when we're talking about fear? Well, our fear is what holds us back. It's what keeps us from unlocking that inner potential that we have as human beings, and what we were created to be while we're here on planet Earth. And that potential that we have within all of us, and those skills, the talents, all of the things that you and I were given, often we are held back from moving forward because of fear. So within a mission-minded team, or mission-minded leadership, there is not room for fear. In fact, if you think about fear, and what that fear really means is fear is breeding doubt. It's creating a worry, maybe bringing a lack of confidence, and not trusting others. So fear is essentially the polar opposite of love, because love builds faith and confidence and trust within others and trust in ourselves. So those being two polar opposites, we think about how that our fear is driving us in a negative sense. So what I want you to think about today is that today we're going to transform our leadership and thus our teams through going from a scarcity mentality to that of a prosperity mentality. And what do I mean by that? Well, again, when we look at those different opposite sides of the spectrum, so we have fear, and fear breeding that negative sense. And fear is draining. The scarcity mentality for us is very draining because we're operating in doubt and worry, and that's our mode of being. So the prosperity paradigm is a belief that is expanding us in our personal power, our respect for ourselves, our confidence within ourselves, and our trust of others, and that it increases our communication skills. It's about creating value for others. It's also that understanding that there is enough for all of us as leaders, as team members, and it's encouraging that mode of living in a higher way, that we're not just looking at now, but we are working in a mission-minded mode. Now, the scarcity mentality, however, that we have been talking about, the scarcity mentality is a belief that it drains us because we lose our personal power when we're living in doubt and worry. And we're kind of going day to day and thinking about the here and now, the next business deal, how am I going to close this? I've got to have this, for our upcoming payroll, for whatever you experience on a daily basis that kind of puts you in that fear mindset as a leader. And that destroys our inner peace within our leadership and the inner peace within the culture of our entire team. And then it also takes away our self-confidence and our trust in others. We begin to doubt those around us as well as ourselves and within our leadership. And we begin to think that there's not enough. So if you've ever been in the industry or within a particular business where you feel like that there's always this sense of competition and it's, scratching to get by, and I have to get this account from this other individual, and they're counting on me to have this goal reached by a certain date. If I don't, I might lose my job. That's a great example of a scarcity mentality or a fear mode within an organization and within our leadership. And as you can imagine, perhaps being in that position yourself in the past or possibly currently, it does not put you in a very healthy position. You do not feel mission driven because you are focused on the wrong things and you're focused on that scarcity rather than abundance. And that's where you want to be in that. When we say prosperity, we really mean abundance. And then that's in your faith and your power mode that each and every human being has the ability to operate in. So how does that also affect us as leaders? If we're not working in the mission-minded mode and our teams are not working in a mission-driven sense, then fear is prevalent. Whether we hear that vocally or not from our team members, oftentimes it is present. And I hear this from a lot of individuals, whether they're sales professionals, they're working in sales and marketing, or they could be executive directors. I'm seeing this on every level of organizations as I coach leadership coaching and our team training. So a mission-minded leader that is going to create a mission-driven team is teachable. You're flexible and you're willing to learn. That's what a prosperity mentality promotes. It says, I know a lot and I'm here because I am a leader and because I am competent, but I don't know everything. So I'm willing to learn from those around me and to grow. And a part of that is a sense of humility within us, that we are able to be taught by others around us, that we're listening to our team. Listening is one of the most important skills for every single leader. Are you listening to your team? Are you getting feedback from them regularly, as well as your customers? A lot of us put out customer surveys, but do you have opportunity to hear from your team? A mission-minded leader empowers their team members. Sometimes people think, well, I don't want to be replaceable. So then again, that's a scarcity mentality. I don't want to build someone else up because they might take my job. But the mission-minded leader empowers others to be everything that they can be and to grow them and their skill and their abilities, knowing that perhaps one day it might be time for someone else to take your place and that there's something else available for you. When we're looking at mission, we're not just looking at what suits us best or what is in our personal gain, but we're looking at the greater good and what we're doing for our businesses and for others that we're growing. And another important aspect of a prosperity mentality is believing that everything works together for your good and that everything comes to serve you. And so it's not doubting or worrying about, well, if my job gets taken, what will I do? It's believing and knowing that everything comes to serve you and that it will work out and there will be something else for you. So you are thinking positively and you're not operating in negativity within your life, which is very draining. So because of that, you are engaged, you are enthusiastic in your leadership, and that is positive energy that is contagious. Energy is contagious, my friends. And you and I will feel this every day, whether we're conscious of that or aware of that when we're going to work every day, that the energy from our managers, from the business owners, as well as from the employees is contagious, and it affects us in our productivity and our efficiency within the workplace. Another aspect of mission-minded leadership is that trust. We must put confidence in others. I want to share with you a cute story. As a worship leader, I also have a team of children that I work with at our church, and this particular girl had come up to me at one point and asked me if she could audition for the upcoming solo, because previously she was never allowed to do that. And of course, she had these beautiful precious moment eyes, and and I said, oh, absolutely, this is open to everyone. So her parents had shared with me that she had really been lacking confidence as well, and within some of the sports that she was involved with. And so I was so inspired that she would have the confidence to come and ask. So once I listened to, all of the children that were auditioning, I realized that she had a great voice. She was obviously really striving to do better, to build her self-confidence. And although she wasn't quite ready to be on her own, I paired her with another of the children to sing this part together. And so once she was able to get up there and to do this solo part, and that we put as a joint effort with this other child, she began to blossom after that. And her parents had shared with me that because of that, she was becoming much more confident within the sports that she played, and she was auditioning for some other things at school. We put a little bit of faith into someone and show them that we believe in them. And it is unimaginable what we can instill in another human being. So as leaders, we can empower others just by trusting them and saying, hey, I'm going to give you this project. I'm going to let you do this, and you run with it. Show me what you've got. That trust then empowers other people. Also, as leaders, I think, and one of the most important aspects that we need in this day and time that we live in is that we make sure that we're always putting people over profit. We all need to make a living, and we all are working in the industry pretty much that we're in because it means something to us, right? And that's what mission is. You might ask, well, what is mission-minded leadership? What does all this mean? Mission gives us context to what we do daily. We certainly don't feel very inspired if we show up to work every day and we don't feel like that it's meaningful. We don't feel like that we are serving our greater purpose. So many of you are in a ministry or in an industry where you feel like this is what I was called to do. This is what I was put on this earth to do. And so that's how you're serving. And some others might feel like, well, I'm in a season and I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be for this season. Well, that's your mission. So each of us have a different mission. We have a different calling. And so that's when we're talking about being, mission driven. We're looking at people. We're looking at calling, what we're supposed to do, and then profit and the financial spectrum, that all comes. In the book, Good to Great, Jim Collins has these multiple companies that they do a study, on these companies about how they took them from good to great. And it was really interesting because these companies and the leaders that were in place all focused on people, not just on the profit end of the business. But because of that, these businesses outperformed the other businesses. Something like a 8.6% ratio, if I remember that correctly. And how incredible is that we see that when we are a mission-driven business, it works. One great example that I often use is Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is a mission-minded company and had a mission-minded leader, and still has, that it was founded on, and still has mission-minded leadership. And because of that, we see that they have a strong mission that not only the top executives live by and believe in, but also every employee believes in. And because of that, we have positive experiences, and we see the difference in the service that we get when we visit any Chick-fil-A that you might visit. And it's very simple, that to be mission driven, that they have a mission driven team that they have created through their mission minded leadership. And you and I can do the exact same. And so when we think about putting people over profit, and like what we had talked about a little earlier, was fear on one end of the spectrum and then love on the other. So when we're putting people over profit, we're certainly being not only mission driven, but we're also operating in love. And love, as we like to call it, and as I will share from our friend Steve D'Annunzio with the Soul Purpose Institute, is leaving others valuable experiences. And isn't that what we desire to do within any of our businesses? Through, whether it's through our product or the services that we provide, we want to leave others with valuable experiences that adds value for their lives, that might create a convenience for their lives or be something beautiful for memory for their families. And it just goes on and on. But when that's our ultimate purpose, when we're wanting to fulfill a mission to help others, then we begin to certainly operate in mission and in love. And so as we continue to talk a little bit about that, going back to the Jim Collins book, he talks about this level 5 executive. The level 5 executive is a great example of a mission-minded leader. So I want to talk about that a little bit today, as we've got about 12 minutes left for our time together today and for this session. But the level 5 executive, this person builds a greatness through a blend of personal humility as well as professional will. So think about those two things, the personal humility and professional will. So Jim Collins talks about this a little bit more, and I'm going to take a couple excerpts and read this from Good to Great, this book, to share with you today. It's very powerful. On the personal will side of this level 5 leader, this person creates superb results and a clear catalyst to transition from good to great, right? So create superb results. They set the standard of building and enduring great company and don't settle for anything less, correct? So that's on the side of the professional will. So we do have to have that professional side, that will, a plan in place as leaders. But then also we need to have the humility spectrum. And that humility is that they demonstrate a compelling modesty, shunning public admiration, and they're not boasting about their abilities as a leader. And they act with quiet and calm determination. So this takes humility. It's an overcoming of our ego and our personal ambition, where we're looking to mission-minded leadership as accomplishing and building something much bigger than just here and now, something that's longer lasting than you and I. Essentially, we want to build legacy, and we want to build something greater for the next generations to come, as well as what we're building now. It's about the journey, and it's not just about personal gain. And so as I was looking at some of these things and kind of weighing these out, I thought, well, so if we're looking at personal gain as leaders or business owners, there's one spectrum that says, okay, there's power and there's fame and then there's the personal recognition and achievement that many struggle or desire and struggle for in their life. But what's greater than that? What's greater than that is what you create and what we build and what we contribute to the world. And that's a mission-minded leader. So what are we contributing and how are we adding value to people's lives every day for the greater good? So how does that tie into your mission-driven team? As I've shared with many, of you online and different posts and blogs, a recent Gallup poll showed that 70% of workers are disengaged. Well, that disengagement comes on some different levels, but one of the reasons that workers are disengaged is because businesses have lost their mission. They've lost where they started. They might have started with a great desire to fulfill this personal mission, and somehow life and the day-to-day and all of the accounting and all of the structure and trying to manage their employees and their management team, somehow they've gotten lost. It's all gotten lost in the shuffle, and the mission is somewhere down here rather than up here. So now we're looking at profit and we're looking at this, and so we're living in a scarcity mentality rather than our mission being at the foremost of every decision that we make and every strategic plan that we put in place as leaders, and then how we drive our teams as well. So very important. And so what does a mission-minded leader do for their team? Well, first of all, they establish clear mission, and they help to bring that team on the journey with them. But a part of doing that is making sure that as leaders, we are creating clear expectations for our teams, and that we're setting boundaries within our teams, because those two things equal clarity. Boundaries plus expectations equal clarity. And people need clarity along with their mission to help them to accomplish what it is that they're wanting to accomplish or needing to accomplish as a part of your team. So do your people understand their job descriptions? Do they have a written job description? Do they have an understanding of what it is in addition to that job description? What is your primary goal for today? What are we working towards today or for this week? And do you have a clear understanding of what role that you're playing within the organization that you're a part of? If you don't, then you probably have some gray areas, and gray is not clarity. So when you have clarity, you're not going to have a disengagement among your people. Boundaries are very important as well. Boundaries in leadership help us to create a team that's structured, that understands the workflow within the different levels of leadership, and it helps people to know that this is where your job is, and this is where it ends, and this is where someone else's is. And again, those aspects bring clarity, and that they all tie in together at the end of the day of the mission that you're working towards and accomplishing. And again, mission brings meaning. It brings context to the current position that someone has, is saying, hey, this is bigger than you and I. This is bigger than just today. This is a calling for me. This is a purpose. This means something. This is a meaningful service that I can add value to other lives. So very important parts of a mission-driven team. Again, talking about going from that scarcity mentality into a prosperity mentality, where our culture within our company builds transparency, trust, great communication through structured and strategic meetings and sessions together, and that also that we are building one another and growing our team members so that they can be all that they can be. And one of this Harvard studies, I believe, if I'm saying that correctly, one of the online Harvard studies shows that teams that are being provided ongoing development and training for their position, that they are more engaged. And engaged people show up to work, and engaged people are creative, and they're productive. And that's what each of us and you and I want for our organizations and for our teams. So today, as we're wrapping up, I want to thank you again for being a part of our time together, and thank you for that willingness to want to grow as a leader, and to become a mission-minded leader, and to create a mission-driven team. So as 3 walkaways for you today that I want you to take with you, if you will, and think about these this week as you move forward and as you begin this journey towards mission-minded leadership. First of all, ask yourself this week or today, what is my leadership style? Now, if you don't know what leadership styles are, research, find out the different leadership styles, and find out what is your leadership style. Socrates said, know thyself. It's very important that we understand ourselves. We understand how we lead. I'll just give you one example. My leadership style is focusing on love. I think it's very important. I think it's something that we all need. And so I operate in a leadership style of love. But find out what your leadership style is, number 1. The second walk away for you today is my current mode fear and scarcity, or is it a prosperity and mission-minded mode that I'm operating in as a leader? Just be real with yourself. Where are you at? Because we can all change. There's all room for growth for us. It's kind of like a classic novel. You have static characters, but then you have dynamic characters. And those dynamic characters within novels, they change. They begin somewhere and they go somewhere else. So you and I have that ability to be dynamic characters so that we can facilitate change and growth within our lives to become the best that we can be. And the third walk away today is, when it comes to your leadership and being a mission-minded leader, how will I move towards my mission-minded leadership and building my mission-minded team? What is the very first step that I can take towards moving towards building a mission-driven team? Well, thank you again so much for being a part of our free coaching session today. Again, I'm April, and I'm with Cornerstone Personal Development. I am the owner, and it's wonderful to be able to share with you today. If you would like more information about our leadership coaching and the training that we provide for businesses, you can visit us online at cornerstonepersonaldevelopment.net, and we have a blog available there, as well as Facebook and Twitter, to be able to keep you up to date with current events, with training seminars, and other information that you might be that might be helpful for you in growing as a leader and grow your business. Thanks again. We hope that you have a blessed day, and we will see you all again soon.